Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. With this series, I'd like to talk to you guys about fractals individually, quickly, and at their easiest level. For those of you guys out there who are looking to do fractals at the master level, I'll be leaving links into the description of each of these videos from a YouTuber named DeRoyer, who has made some fantastic and very detailed guides on the hardest version or the master tier fractals of the Mist. So whether you came here looking for a higher level guide or you play through this guide and want to know what it's like at some of the higher levels, you were pretty much covered. At the start of this fractal, you'll find yourself on the edge of a small platform surrounded by other small platforms. Every so often along this path you will encounter harpies, and it's a good idea to take these out because they do have knockback, which will knock you off the platform and you'll have to do this all over again. Additionally, it's a good idea to keep an eye on whether or not you're in combat or whether or not someone has put a swiftness buff on your character. This because swiftness will make you jump farther than you anticipated, and being caught in combat will shorten your jumps and you don't want to fall off the edge. Just do your best not to fall off the edge while avoiding those harpy knockbacks until you get to the very top where it opens up into a room. Although the room is empty when you first enter, attacking the power generator in the corner will open up several cells, releasing 4 enemies into the room. For the best experience, I recommend taking out those enemies in a particular order, and that would be the Rabbit first, the Saboteur second, the Shaman third, and the Etten last. The reason we choose this order is because, believe it or not, that Rabbit can one-shot you, so you want to deal with it as quickly as possible. The Saboteur will throw ranged bombs around, and it can make things chaotic in that small room. The Shaman has access to some pretty large AoEs, and again, it's a pretty small room, so you want to deal with him next. And lastly, we fight the Etten because he's more or less just a melee bruiser, and he's pretty easy to avoid while you're dealing with the other 3. Adhering to this order will keep this fight pretty simple, and the fight itself isn't all that challenging. These are essentially just champion monsters, so as always, use some crowd control abilities to break their break bars and deal all the damage you can while their break bar is broken. At the end of this encounter, head up the stairs and you'll see a few more harpies. Now, whether or not you deal with these enemies will depend on your group, but I tend to just go with the flow, so if you see your party attacking those harpies, go ahead and meet up with them, or if they're not attacking the harpies, just run past and up another small staircase until you get to the next room. It's in this room that you'll see a tall staircase, and at the very top there are some turrets flinging some energy pulses your way, and you'll need to dodge those energy pulses all the way to the top of the stairs. Not only can these energy pulses be literally dodged, but you can also use some reflex or some teleport abilities to get around them. Being hit by any of the energy pulses is going to put you back at the bottom of the stairs, so it's a good idea to wait for a good opening before making your attempt. Once you and 2 other players have made it to the top, you should see a series of terminals, and by activating all 3 terminals at the same time, you'll deactivate the trap for everyone else so that you can progress the fractal. Once everybody's made it atop the stairs, you can head down a small aisleway until you see a room on your right-hand side. It's in this room that you'll encounter your second boss, and this is Old Tom, or a giant Asuran golem. In the very earliest versions of this fractal, all you'll need to do is worry about breaking his break bar and burning him down as fast as you can before the room fills up with poison. But because this encounter does have an extra mechanic as you move up through the fractals, I am going to address it here just so you know what to expect. Before anybody enters the room with Old Tom, it's a really good idea to send 1 or 2 players in. As you make your way to the back of the room, you'll see that there are a bunch of purple crystals, and these actually power fans in the corner of the room to remove poison that is inevitably going to fill up. So, before the fight even starts, like I said, you should have a couple of people go in there, grab some crystals, and move them closer to those fans. This way, you won't be worrying about where the crystals are in relation to the fan in the middle of the fight. This because Old Tom is going to fill the room up with poison, only you won't be able to just burn him down. Instead, the fight will persist, and you'll need to send a couple players to the corners of the room to repower those fans. Also keep in mind that if at any time someone else in your party attacks Old Tom, it's going to throw this whole setup process off. So if someone in your group wants to set up the crystals, do the right thing and don't start the fight until they've done so. With that being said, if you're on the easiest version of this fractal, you won't have to worry about it, and like I said before, just keep his break bar broken and deal damage when you can. Once Old Tom has been dealt with, just head outside of the room, and you should see that there is yet another jumping puzzle portion to this fractal. Just like before, be wary of the same things, avoid the knockback, and try to take out harpies whenever you can. Once you do make it to the very top, you will be done with the jumping puzzle portion of this fractal, and it's from here that you need to head through the opening to your left and stay to that left side until you reach the far back corner. This because it won't trigger the fight and it gives everybody time to meet in the same place. When your party is ready, head over to the Raving Asura and you can start the fight. This encounter is the final fight of this fractal, and rather than fighting the Asura itself, you just need to focus on those 4 golems. Once the fight has been initiated, each one of the 4 golems will become active one after another, and you'll just have to deal with those one at a time. Each golem individually isn't too much to take on. As always, just keep the break bar broken and deal damage when you can, and then once the 4th one finally falls, all 4 will reactivate and you'll need to repeat the process, only now all 4 at once. Although there are now 4 of them, these really aren't too challenging of enemies. Just make sure that your party focuses on one at a time and you'll be able to take them out no problem. While this fight is taking place, you may notice a plus or minus symbol above your head, and that's the charge that's been assigned to you based on what side of the room you were on. Make sure that whenever you see this, you stand next to players that have the same symbol as you as opposed to the opposite, or you might take some unnecessary damage. While that damage isn't going to be all that high in the earlier versions of the Fractal, you should know about this mechanic and plan for it, so when you reach those higher level, more difficult Fractals, you don't wipe for no good reason. Once all 4 golems have been defeated, you've successfully completed this Fractal. To anyone out there trying to complete the Uncategorized Fractal, I hope you found this helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.